get your wine. I have little arms.
Big-headed little arms.
Not much fun at parties. You're not invited to the Have you noticed? No split screen.
There's no split screen.
I can touch you. Oh, God. Touch. Consensual touching.
It is consensual. It's fine. Actual cheers.
Cheers.
Yay.
Cheers. We're back.
We are.
What does fluent in sarcasm mean? What would a shark say?
Nom, nom, nom.
What does a shark say? Nom, nom, nom,
No,
nom.
no, 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 no.
It's probably good. We usually have split screen.
Right? It's not bad for us to be together. It's just
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized is right. I was going to say more chaotic, but I think uncivilized is probably better. Uncivilized. Which has nothing to do with today's topic.
Not at all.
Not at all to do anything with today's topic. Because today we're talking about something very timely for us, which is good books for book clubs. Like, what makes a book a good choice for a book club? Because not every book is book club worthy.
No.
Some books we need to read under the cover of darkness in our own homes by ourselves.
And some we need to read in secret and not tell anyone about.
Right.
Because when you get done, you're like, I don't want to talk about that one ever again.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly how to explain what just happened here. Right? Like there are some books like that are actually very much good books, but also not to be discussed in polite company. Not much of my company is polite, but like...
Or impolite.
Any in company.
I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
But I have to say, we're kind of curating our own book club here, right? With things that we're reading and things that we are recommending and the way that we are sharing. So while we share what we read every month, right? We do our monthly wrap-ups, our what do we call them? Hauls.
Monthly
book hauls. Monthly reads. We share all of the ones that we read. Not every single one of those books is a good book club book.
Mm-mm.
So if you have your own book club, if you're starting your own book club, if you're doing a book retreat, hint, hint, retreat.
Keyword.
Right, how do you pick books for that?
Is there, I want to call it like an algorithm.
Is there a rubric for this?
Is there a mathematical equation?
God, I hope not, because I'm reading, not mathing.
You know, like, do we boil this down to an if-then statement? Or is it based on feeling? That's what we're talking about.
Agreed. And I think, like, I have an idea of what I would put forward as a book club book.
Yes, tell me.
I have a...
What do you think?
Now, I'm typically very surprised, I guess, when I get to because I'm not a book flipper when I first get the book. Like, I don't, like, flip through it before I start reading it. I just open to page 1 and I start reading on page 1. Yeah. So when I get to the end of the book and there's, like, 20 pages left, I'm like, what is this? And it's, like, book club questions for discussion. And I'm like, oh, this, like, is this a book club book?
I've seen those.
Right?
Yes.
So
I think that's new.
It might be newer, right?
New-ish.
But I also think that does make me think after I get done reading it, like, would I have wanted to discuss this book? Do I read those questions after I'm done? Not normally.
I don't.
I feel like I should, but I'm also not a one-person book club, so
right. I don't want to think anymore.
Right, I've already read it. Just let me process. Please don't make me, like, dissect and analyze. But I think if it's a book, and it doesn't matter really the genre, if it's a book that makes you think differently, that makes you question things, automatically a good book club book.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm not going to have the same thoughts you do. Right. And I'm not going to have the same thoughts as, like, you know, Beth Ann over there. We're all going to have different experiences. So.
Yeah, those are the good ones to talk about. And not every story is like that.
Right.
So, is there a certain genre? Or do you think it's more specific than that? Is it maybe, I'm trying to think.
Right.
It's definitely something you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I would say thrillers, I feel like, or mysteries.
Mysteries,
because you're kind of like, were you tracking? Did you have any clue? Did you pick up on the things? And
what did you pick up that I did not pick up? Because I tend to miss certain things and then I tend to pick up other things. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's what the FBI calls a clue. But it's actually not. It's just something like nuance that was
Happy
like cool,
accident.
right? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a part of it. And they're like, no, nobody else picked that up. And I'm
No,
like, great.
that wasn't supposed
Did
to be
I
a
read
thing.
the right book?
Right. And then you're like, did we read the same book? Because I had a very different experience.
Yes.
Yes. So I think I love that they're unexpected. It's a little bit deeper than just a story,
Right.
where you're having to follow along.
I don't think my holiday books, my easy palate cleansers, I don't know that a palate cleanser is typically a book club book for me.
Not much to discuss there.
Right? Because it's just what happens. You are just privy to the experience, not necessarily trying to figure anything out or think deeper about things.
You're just there and you're enjoying the story.
Yeah.
And you're moving on afterwards. Yeah. This is a tough question.
Right? Are series book club books? Like, is a series a book club book to you?
I would say no.
Okay, me too.
But
This is
maybe
why
book
we're here.
one. Maybe book one.
Right. So what if you start book one, everybody reads book one, and then each person gets to decide on their own if they want to continue and at what pace. That could be cool.
Yeah. Although, like, people do tend to read full series. I don't know about you. I don't know any other people who don't. But once you start book one, you're kind of like, oh, I have to keep going.
Right. So what if book club...
But do you want book club to be consumed with that?
Right. And do you, if you've already read, if book club assignment, because I don't know what it's actually called, if the book club choice was book one, but you are me, who finished book one before book club happened, and then have access to book two.
And have to know.
Right. That then impedes my discussion and impacts my discussion of book one. Because now I know what happened.
And now I don't know what happened in book one versus what happened in book two.
Right, because I've read them both now.
I feel like this is this is like what we do.
Right, I feel like, is this an us
is
problem?
Us. This is us.
Okay, so series are a no for book club for us.
This is an us problem for sure.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Because we had a 2-person book club when we read
Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing.
Yes, which a friend of mine has just finished it. And she just texted me and she went, I'm devastated. And I was like, I would love to talk to you about it.
Yeah. And it's okay now that she's read all three.
You can't say anything to anybody.
See, maybe book club, maybe that's it. Maybe we talk about book 3.
Right? So
after.
You get to choose.
Yeah, so you're not reading book 1 and we're just talking about that and I'm not holding you back if you're not ready to proceed, but like just know that like 3 months from now we're going to talk about this series.
Right?
Maybe that's it.
Maybe, but then you have people who finish it at different times. And I'm not going to remember book 3 in 3 months if I read it in a week.
This is very true.
Right?
This is, I want to say it's like foreshadowing, but it's after the fact.
After shadowing?
Aftershadowing. It's aftershadowing. Do you remember we had the same conversation? I was like, I need you to read book 3.
Oh, yeah.
A little quicker.
Yeah, you're like, I have to talk about it.
Because I need to talk about this.
Yes. And then I did apologize. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I did take too long to do that.
And when you read it, you understood.
Yes, I was wrong. I was wrong and I apologize. I did grab 2 books that I do think are really good book club books.
Okay.
Which many people have probably already read, but kind of like as an example of what I think would be cool. So I'm going to...
Can you read?
No. As I do... We are going to get smart because this couch is not red. So the 2 I picked, and I didn't even realize it had the Oprah's Book Club on it because this is an older one.
Club.
This is the Poisonwood Bible that I think a lot of people have read. This was a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. This is one that came out a while ago to the point that I think I got this one at Costco because it was $7.89. I still have the tag on it. But 100% I think this is one of those that... This is a thick girl.
She is a thick girl.
Like, she
next
got
one
some...
is too.
Right, they both are. But I also think that they have a little bit in them where you're like, oh, there's some meat here to discuss because it could rub people a billion different ways.
Yes.
And this is one of those that I actually remember. Like, I read this...
And it stuck with you?
Over a decade ago. And it is still one where I, like, as soon as we were talking about this topic, and I was like, oh, 100%.
I have the perfect one.
This is the one that is, I feel like it's one that even if you're just starting a book club and you haven't read it yet, and you're like, okay, this is like, let's just run into this one. Is it an easy book? No. Are there some tough themes in it? Yes. But I think that makes an interesting discussion.
Yes.
Right?
I think so.
So there's that one, and then there's also A Secret History of Witches.
Okay.
Right? 2 totally different books. But this one, I love that this one looks like.
I love the rough edges.
Right?
It's so good.
Yes, this one has seen some things. But this one is 100% a, like, we need to discuss. And then I actually think this one has, at the end of it, I don't know, one of them at the end of it has actual questions where you're like, oh, I'm supposed to do something with it.
I didn't pick up on that.
Right?
And it almost feels like maybe also not a group project where somebody can like skim and be like, I mean, here's what I took, or like
they read the
Chat GPT, the like, tell me the synopsis of this, or like
I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider Chat GPT because firstborn daughter, I'm going to read the book if you tell me to read the book.
I may have done that for a couple synopses.
Synopses. I didn't, literally, right now happening, I didn't consider that. That somebody could be like, oh, tell me what happened in this book. I didn't want to read the whole thing.
Life got lifey, or this book was not interesting.
Okay, if that's the case, then just tell me you didn't read it and you're just here for the wine and
this
charcuterie.
Is the book club. Like, we're not here to judge you.
No! I'm actually upset about that.
I'm sorry I introduced you to that.
I was like, wait a minute, we can't. Don't Chat GPT it. Unless you have a Chat GPT book club. What if that was a book club? Where you're like, hey, find me a book. Like, you tell it what kind of book you want it to find for you. And then you read those books. Oh.
That's an episode idea.
Right?
Oh, we're going to do that.
Right?
Just to see what happens.
We should see if it, because we've had enough of these episodes, right? We'll see if it can recommend books for us based on...
We'll give it a couple of keywords.
Right?
Oh, this is a great idea. So good.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Good.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, you have to drink after. Cheers.
It's good luck.
Whoops. I did recommend Before the Coffee Gets Cold.
Oh, yeah.
As a book club book.
Yeah.
Because there are individual stories in there. Mm-hmm. And I think it leaves room for people to kind of interpret that for themselves.
Yeah.
And kind of put themselves in that person's situation and see, like, what would you do?
Right.
If you could go back in time, what situation is on your mind that you would go back and try to change 100%. Or have a different conversation, knowing that it wouldn't change, but, like, it could from this point forward. So, like...
Did you read any of the other ones or just the first one?
I read the second one.
Did you? Okay, would you recommend...
the second one.
Would you recommend the first one to start with, or... Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. So the first one I thought was very much person and like what they were holding on to.
Okay.
And then maybe what was holding them back. And the second book I felt was similar, but that it was more of a forgiveness, letting go, moving on.
Okay.
Situations for everybody, but it was still set up the same. So you have a little bit more background, but it felt completely fresh.
Okay. So you could do both.
What they were doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I have all 5.
You have all of them.
I have all 5, and I have only read the first one thus far because there are a lot of books on my TBR,
on your TBR, yes.
that keep growing. Yes. So, but that's the other thing. If you have a series like that, is it okay? Like, if you didn't think book 1 was all that and you thought book 2 was better, would you consider starting book 2?
And I feel like that one maybe wouldn't be a series that I would read.
No,
1 through 5. Like, those could be standalone books.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just so very different. And it's such a different topic to be able to talk about.
Yeah.
To do that. Yeah. I would recommend that one.
That's a good one to recommend.
Yeah.
I think... I don't know unless you're... Because I think in a lot of book clubs, you have a variety of individuals in the club who don't necessarily all like the same books.
Yes.
So unless you're starting a specific, like, romantasy book club, I wouldn't only do... Like, I wouldn't recommend fantasy to a book club necessarily if that's not what everybody's into. Because some people are really going to be turned off by that. Like, they're really going to hate it. Right? Because if they just feel like it's cringy or if it's too much or if it's like too imaginative or too much whimsy or whatever it might be, they're going to hate that and that's going to taint the conversation for everybody.
But I think book club could be the perfect place to introduce a new genre that maybe people aren't familiar with. If you have a worldwide book club. Like, if you have a universal...
Everybody can read everything, yeah.
Yeah, pick the books. Because I have seen very specific reading clubs. Clubs.
Yes. We have the little bookstore downtown has different nights have different book clubs. Like, and it's literally like our political efficacy, or our, you know, small business readers, or our nonfiction, or our, you know, the fantasy one, or whatever. They have them for all of them.
It could be a good, like, toe dip.
Maybe.
Though, to try. Because I think it's always interesting to experience something new with someone else. It's so hard to, because you're just kind of stuck with what you're reading, and you're like, I don't know how to process this, or I don't know what to think about this. This is new. But, like, if you have a buddy or a whole group that you can go and talk to, if you're like, I'm really confused, this is my first step into, like, this genre, and then you get to hear other people talking about it, I think it almost makes it more interesting.
That's fair. But then if you are in a group of people, those that you know well or don't know well, and you pick the book, and here's my fear coming out, right?
I was going to say, this is an us thing.
Right, but if you pick the book, and then you are like, hey, here's a book that I think we all should read, because I assume we're picking books that we haven't read yet. Because I'm not going to pick a book naturally that I've read already if I'm part of a book club. And so if I'm saying, hey, like, here's a book that I hear is great, it's a fantasy, whatever, and then I put it in and it sucks, or people end up, like, half the group ends up hating it.
What does that say about you as a person? Your life is over. Like,
everyone is judging
done.
you. You've been kicked out of book club.
Shame upon you. Shame upon your cow. Shame on your family.
But that's what I'm saying. I'd be so nervous to be like, so I would pick, I wonder how long it takes to get that level of comfort with your book club to be like, hey, do we have a no make fun of policy, or like an it's cool to DNF policy?
I think there's always that.
I hope so.
And
I don't know.
I feel like if you're in a group, man, a book club is feeling like Fight Club.
But here's the deal.
There are no rules.
Right, but like we don't necessarily have book club. We have us.
We have
and
us.
So we read whatever.
And we have you. And this is our book club.
This is our book club. But when you and I talk about books, there's often peer pressure involved. Right? Because we're like, read this book. You're going to love this book. Read this book.
Yes.
And then I will do the same thing where I'm like, I love this book. Read this book.
Yes.
And so it's one of those where we're luckily very honest with each other, where we're like, hey, I hated that. Like, that was...
do you feel pressure?
Not
when you recommend a book?
Oh, God, no. When I recommend one, it's because I actually liked it.
Okay.
Right? But it's also because I know your style of reading.
Okay.
And I typically have an idea of the things that I think you will like. And so if it's one that I don't think you'll like, I'll even come out and be like, hey, I loved this book. Here's why. You might hate it. Right? You might hate this thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have not even surprise romance or whimsy. It's just not. So like, it's not even going to come out and scare you.
Ew.
Not happening. They're loving each other.
We need murder.
I need murder and something happening.
Dragons. Dragon murder.
Right. That's one we didn't add.
That's the one.
Right?
Fire breathing.
Then.
1,000 ways to die.
But I guess I don't feel pressure with you because I think that I trust you, and I know that if like you hate something, you'll just come out and say it to me, and it's not.
I'll be like,
I hate
it.
You're not judging me. You're just being like, this book was not for me, which is cool.
Yes.
There's a book that you read where I was like, I think I'll love that, and you were like, I hated it. I was like, cool, give it to me.
Whoa. Oh, yeah.
Right?
I was like, whoa.
Wait.
No, we just talked about
we did talk about it. So, but that does happen between the two of us, but we have that friendship where we can do that. If I'm in a group of relative strangers or like tertiary
or like somebody
friends,
you're meeting maybe at a book club and you don't know people, do you think, hold on, that brings up another question. Do you think you would be honest in your review?
I think if you had asked me that 5-10 years ago, the answer would have been no. I think where I am in my reading journey now, I would definitely be like, this is a 4-star book. This is a 3-star book. This is not...
Push his glasses on nose.
Right. One moment. Let me tell you something. I think I would be kind, but I also might be like, hey, this isn't for me because, right? I would give those qualifying statements that hopefully take some of that back to not upset somebody. But I don't know that I'd come out and be like, this sucked butt.
And you sucked butt for liking it.
I can't believe you like that. But I also don't think that about people. So I guess I don't know why I think they think that about me. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is
like a therapeutic
I was
session.
like, I feel like this might need to be...
And we'll turn that mirror on ourselves.
Right, turn that around. But I do think that does keep me from doing the big book club thing with like people in person, but online, I won't recommend anything to anybody.
Because you're a keyboard warrior.
Right, because I'm a keyboard booker. And I'm like, I'm happy to be like, oh, this is what I liked. Oh, you like this? Okay, cool. I loved this. This is one. Like, that's super easy for me because it's just me sharing my opinion versus choosing the book that people are going to spend the next month on, potentially.
Isn't that very interesting? Because I actually love hearing about the books that people hated.
You do love that.
I do love that because I'm like, you hated this book?
Why?
That's insane. I loved this book. Tell me. What I feel like maybe we're having mini book clubs all over the place.
I guess.
As we talk to people. But I'm like, what do you mean?
Why? What was so horrible about it?
What was so... I was like, oh, and then, you know, maybe also, we're just going to use this term loosely as we go, but all the spoilers for, like, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, there was so much that I did not pick up on that people are talking about, and I'm like, oh,
maybe that was a thing.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Right?
Oh, I didn't consider this. But, like, the things that people are picking up on, so I don't know that I would do well in a book club, because I read book clubs, and I'm like,
like, I had a book I read
this
today.
book is good.
I like that. I'm, like, a third of the way through the book, and I'm like, I think you'll like this. I don't know how it ends. We have 2/3 of the book.
We haven't gotten there.
Like, everything
it could just nosedive.
It could, but right now, I did that to you today.
Yeah.
I was literally reading the book, and I was like, I'll give this to you, and I'm done. You're going to like it.
You're like 60 pages in. Right? You're going to love this.
Like, you're going to love this. How dare I? The audacity must be free, because I had it.
We're throwing it like candy.
It's just confetti time. But I will do that if there's something where I'm like, oh, I think I did it with the Colleen Hoover book I read when we did our thrillers episode. Mm-hmm. And I got into that, and I was like, you're going to love this, and just like handed it to my mom.
Here you go.
I was like, here you go.
You need to read this.
I will say.
She did.
She read it in a day.
She also read it in a day.
Right? So I wasn't wrong on that one.
Yeah. Now there's pressure. If I read it, what if I hate it?
What if you
I'm not telling either one of you.
Do you need it? I do have it.
I think I have like a stack of 4 or 5 reserved.
Okay, cool.
From your little library.
Great, there's plenty. I was like, it's
so, you know.
I have several piles of books. I have to decide which one's yours.
Yes.
I have to figure out which one I have to give to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plenty to discuss. Plenty to talk about.
What if you do... Ooh, I love this idea for a book club. What if you do a blind date with a book where everybody brings one that they've wrapped, and you do like a round robin and just pass them out?
So it's one that they've read?
It's one that I've read that I bring wrapped up, and then I give it to somebody else, an unwitting soul.
See, I kind of like that idea as well. And this is where I feel like book clubs have no rules.
Right. We can do whatever we want.
You just don't. And I love the idea that we had discussed. Everybody reads a book by the same author.
But it doesn't have to be the same book.
And it doesn't have to be the same book, but you can come to the table and talk about the storyline, the plot, because I know that, like, Emily Henry, I read one of her books, loved it, was looking for that same feeling, read a second book, did not get that feeling. So it would be very curious to see what other authors have the same, you know, style, or maybe they don't. And you could talk about everybody's bringing different experience. Right. That way you're not, like, kicking this dead horse.
Right. I feel like when we read the same book, like, I love the idea of reading the same book and being able to discuss it. But I also love the idea of the author. Like, if you did a Chuck Palahniuk where everybody read a different one, you came in, you talked about your book, and then if somebody was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool, you just hand them that book.
Yes.
Right? And then, like, we just trade books, and then everybody gets to read again if they want to.
Yes.
But then you pick, you know.
I love that.
I think that that's a cool idea.
I also really like the blind date with a book kind of idea. Because, again, you're getting to experience different books or different genres that maybe you wouldn't have, like, as you're perusing shelves in a bookshop.
Right.
You're like, I'm going to stay away from romance because I didn't think I liked romance, but it turns out most of the books I read have romance in them.
There's a storyline in there. That's lovely.
You know, we love that. Love this for you. But, like, to know that someone else recommended it or someone else read it, and it feels almost like, oh, I have a friend in this journey. And I do have somebody I can talk to about it. Because have you ever read a book that you were like, I need to talk to somebody about this?
Yeah. Often.
Yeah. Like almost every book.
Yeah.
Which is why you guys are here.
Because we get
this
to talk
is what we do.
We'll talk to you about our books. But definitely. And the thing with the blind date with a book, the question becomes, does the recommender, does the person who wrapped the book say who they are, right? Like, do I write my name on the back of the wrapping that's like, hey, you know, recommended by Meg, so that when
If you
do
like
read
this
it,
one, I got plenty
right?
more.
But if you do that and the person is reading it, then they know who to message in the book club and be like, oh my gosh, I'm reading this now and this is what I think. Or like,
who to avoid in the future.
right? I will say I have 3. I'm looking at them right now. I have 3 blind date books. See that pink one that says
I'm
fiction?
like, where are they? I'm making eye contact.
They're underneath the tiny octopus.
Yes, I see
But
it.
there are 3 books there that are wrapped that I'm excited to read because they're literal blind date. Like, they were purchased for me and like given to me and whatever. And I'm super excited to read them. But also, I kind of don't want to unwrap them because then it's no longer a blind date. Now it's just a book.
Yeah,
But
now it's just a book.
Right. But part of me is like, I love that they're there and they're wrapped. Like it's almost like the holiday thing where like the anticipation of getting to figure out what that book is so fun that I'm kind of like, I just love that. Like, one day I'm going to unwrap that book and read it.
Yes.
But I can tell you I've picked up 3 books before that and been like, I'll read this first before I get to that book. It almost feels like a special activity.
Yeah. Well, and you can't just unwrap it
because then I have to
put
read
it back on the shelf.
No, that
because
doesn't
if
count.
you open it, that's like a bottle of wine.
Right, you got to read that
If you
sucker.
open it, you are reading it.
But
that's
then
it.
Right? And so I'm very excited. The one was sent to me by somebody who looked at my Goodreads to see what I had already read and then picked something and sent it to me.
Oh.
Right?
That is... Oh,
so the fact that I haven't opened it.
Greatest idea. Right. I love that.
Yeah. Like, somebody took the time to just like peruse real quick through my Goodreads and be like, hey, here are the things that she likes and here are the things that she's read and then pick something for me based on that.
And I think you would like this.
Right?
Yes. I wish I was that thoughtful. I feel like I'm the other way. I'm like, you read all of these genres. You should read this one.
Right?
Because it's going to kick you in the face.
But I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think the idea of what makes a good book club book is so vast.
There's no one way to describe it.
There isn't, but I think when you get the wrong book, you know.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't
just
know that I can put my finger on it and be like, this is
answer what the theoretical equation is for the perfect book club book. No. And honestly, I don't know that we could, even if that was a thing, because there are so many book clubs.
Yeah.
And there are no rules when it comes to it.
The Fight Club of book readers.
It's the Fight Club of book clubs.
Fight Club of book clubs.
It's a book fight. The first rule is, though, we talk about the books.
We will talk about the books. It's not that we don't talk about them. We do talk about the books.
We do talk about them.
I think it has to be something worth discussing.
Yes.
Right? I think it has to be a book worth discussing because either it's got a crazy ending or a crazy twist or there's,
Although...
Oh, gosh.
Let me just throw in some devil's advocacy here.
Okay.
Because there have been some terrible books that we have read. And we have discussed those.
Yes, but I'm not recommending them for
We're not recommending them for book club, but if you think about it, you and I are
our own book club.
You and I are book club.
Yes, we are clubbed up.
So think about it. We talk even about the terrible books.
We still talk about the terrible books. I think we probably talk about the terrible books more than we talk about Okay, all right.
We are having the discussion. It is pulling, and I'm like, have you seen on page 47?
Right.
Are you there yet? Have you gotten there? Are we at the same place? Are we okay with this? What are we thinking? What? Yeah. So even a terrible...
Such and such is going to start on page 86. Are you there
yet?
Yeah,
brace yourself for page 69. Because it's happening.
Things is happening. But I think that from a book club that's not
I don't think that's the theme of a book club.
No.
But we had a lot of conversations.
Bad book club?
Bad book club.
Bad book club.
How fantastic would that be? What if
we only read books that people thought were terrible?
We
only
read one-star books. Because
Maybe we have to add that as an episode, 1-star books.
We should do that.
And we'll read them and see if we think they're 1-star books.
Yes.
Ooh. I don't hate that.
Oh, it's happening.
It has to happen now.
This is
Somebody take a note.
You guys are here for this.
Right? Editor, note. Editor's take a note.
Note to selves.
Note to editor. That's me. Me for later.
It's you.
Don't forget, pull this part out.
Future me, this is what I need.
This is what we need.
Take note.
I think that makes sense. But when you're starting a book club, and I think...
No, you want it to be good. You want good books.
Right?
Yes.
But I also think there's a different level of book clubs. Like, I don't know that I'm suited for a serious book club. Right? I think I'm like people who are in it for deep discussion and no silliness and less chaos. I don't know that that's my book club.
You're here for the wine and the cheese.
I'm here, yeah.
And we'll talk about books.
Yep. Charcuterie and Tomfoolery. Like, I'm in for both.
I'm here for this. Fully support.
Right? And so I think finding the right book club is more important than the books we're recommending.
Yes.
Right? Because if you kind of end up trusting the people in your book club where you're like, hey, but then you also know that every time Sue Ellen is going to come up with, it's her turn to come up with a book, you know you're probably not going to like it. But you grit your teeth and you read the book.
And you're going to outwardly give her shit. Because you're like, Sue Ellen did it again.
All right, Sue Ellen, this is not our favorite.
You're going on the back burner for another 6 months while we all get another turn.
Everybody gets to read again. But I think that we get to know what everybody's genre of choice is. So you just kind of brace yourself. And maybe I stack that month with some of my other favorite things.
Yes.
These are a few of my favorite things. Well, I'm not reading this other thing that I have to read. Maybe that's when I chat GPT.
This is like a double decker.
Ooh. I can't.
This is where you've got one and you're like, I have to read 5 pages a day. I'm gonna have this other one for fun.
Right?
But this one is like homework. Ooh, do you think a book club would feel like homework? Like assignments and like having to read,
I don't know,
said number of pages by?
I think
because I hated reading in school for that reason.
Did you?
Because I was forced to and I was told to read.
I loved it because I was forced to and told to read, which means if I was reading I didn't have to do math.
When I had free will of reading.
When I could choose what I wanted.
Yes.
But I think I was doing that. I was reading whatever the teacher told us to read, but I was also reading my own things. So
I wasn't. Because I was like, I hate reading. Because I was being told what to read.
Right. But I think there were some of the books that I read that I was forced to read in school are ones that I still think about today. Right?
Yeah.
Like Animal Farm and 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 and, you know,
yeah.
all of those. Those are all the ones that we were forced to read. But Lord of the Flies, like, right? Those are all the things that we were forced to read in school. But I still remember them because of the discussions. So will I remember books better if I have better discussions?
That is like the epitome of a book club.
Right? Like it's...
That is it. It's the reading and then the discussion.
It is.
Because how many books have you read and forgotten? You're like, I don't remember what happened in this book. I love this book. I recommend this book. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it.
Thank God for my reading trackers.
But had you talked about it?
Yeah.
Like,
With
you
somebody.
might remember it a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
book club, the necessities.
Thank goodness for my reading trackers, though, because there are times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I read that, and I have to go back and look and be like, oh, this is what I wrote about it because now I remember.
Because clearly now I remember.
What did I do without book trackers? I kept buying the same book. I know what I did. I kept buying the same book. Yeah, I have literally looked at the shelf tonight and was like, copies. We have a retreat coming up where everybody's getting new books, and I have a couple where I'm like, that is a brand new book on my shelf, and I have 2 copies of it.
And I have 2 of those.
It looks like somebody else can have that one because now I have 2.
I'm passing it along.
Right? So
There's a lot of pressure, speaking of choosing books for people who have told you what their genre is, and you're like, do I give you something in your lane of books, or do I like completely mess it up and be like, you will try this?
Do I abstract the hell out of your TBR and decide to throw a couple curveballs in there?
And the answer is both.
Right? I'll let you choose, and then I will also provide. Yes.
We have a comfort, and then we have this will expand you a little bit.
Yeah. It's like a stretch goal.
That's good.
A stretch book.
Books you like, books you don't like, books you don't know that you could like or don't like. It's the Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's box. Right. Box of books.
Schrodinger's box of books. It could go either way.
It could.
And maybe that's the key. There are no rules. Find a book club that suits you.
So anybody who really likes rules and regulations and boundaries, you're as well. Sorry about it. Welcome to book club.
Welcome to book club.
Welcome to book club.
Tell all your friends.
It's a wild, wild west of a world out here.
It's such a wild world. You have no idea.
You could get something you like. You get something you hate. You could get something you love to hate.
It's like the Russian roulette
Oh, God.
of books.
That's what a book club is?
The reading roulette.
Oh, reading roulette.
It's reading roulette. Let's make other analogies. What else you got?
I don't know that I can be trusted to speak right now.
I don't know that I can be trusted to hear right now.
It's been a challenge.
We love a challenge.
We do.
Yes. Are you in any book clubs?
Right? And is your book club...
There's so many.
Is it an in-person book club? Is it a digital book club? Is it like...
Genre specific?
Right? A genre specific or a author specific or something of that nature? Do you have a preference?
Is it just a free-for-all? Do you trust the people? Do you know the people? Does
Is
everybody get to pick a book? To pick a book?
Is it...
Or is it like, do you have a leader?
Right?
Do you have a cult leader who
A
tells you?
chaotic book club leader that picks all of your books for you? It can't be. No, we share it. We share the blame.
Maybe.
We have to. Come on.
I don't know. If I had someone that could recommend
That's a book
amazing
dictatorship.
book. Oh.
We don't do booktaters here.
That's the only kind of tater we don't like.
No, we're good. Any other of the taters are fine. Booktaters are out.
Book taters and dictators.
Done.
Out.
Out. You're not welcome here.
Mashed taters are great.
We like them fried and mashed. Sometimes Juliet. Not Juliet. Juliet taters. Somebody. She's Mr. Potato Head's cousin.
This here's Juliet. He like pulls off his mustache and throws. This here's Juliet. Hi, I'm Juliet.
Hi, Juliet. I'm Juliet Tater.
Oh, our book club could never.
No. This is why we can't be in person often.
This is what happens.
It does, but it's been a great time.
It's so good. Oh, thank you for joining us. Tell your book clubs about us.
Right?
We'll be here all week.
We
Join us.
We honestly will. And if there's something that you have figured out from the book club perspective that is like the
Yes.
golden rule or the golden like, hey, this is what we do to make sure that our book club's not super chaotic, we would love to hear it. And would love to know if you are hosting like your own online or in
Yes.
person or whatever it is. Tell us about your book club experiences.
We
wanna
might
know.
need to join.
Right? Because
Civilized
this is
book clubs.
uncivilized.
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized. Just
Can't
so
be
much.
trusted.
Never.
Yeah, I'll pop on a mustache. Hi, I'm Juliet. No!
Hi.
Throw away my mustache.
No, I'm Juliet Tater.
Juliet Tater.
We will see you on the next episode. Until then, happy reading.
Ta-ta!
It was great to have you join us for today's chat. If you'd like to continue the conversation, provide a recommendation, or simply say hi, pop over to Instagram at wine.read.wine or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next episode. Happy reading!